Hi again guys, and welcome to episode 14 of Forget Your Warranty, the review series for the aftermarket tuner cars of Gran Turismo 6, and there are actually quite a few aftermarket tuner cars on the game, some obviously more heavily modified than others, and a variety of them are for different purposes. Some of them are understandably just to show what the tuning company is capable of, whereas others are more for competition purposes, such as drifting, racing, time attack, etc. Now, this particular vehicle is one of two MiNE'S Skylines featured on the game. We've already, of course, featured the MiNE'S Evo, which is a decent enough car, but is very expensive, given how good it actually is. Is that improved with the Skylines? That's the question. Now, we're going to feature both Skylines in the series. One is, of course, a premium, and one is a non-premium, with the premium model understandably being a lot more popular. And the question is, are they worth buying instead of, or at the very least as well as, other Skylines? Because as it is, the Skyline is already a strong performance car, even from the Nissan dealership. So, do you really need this car? Well, we're discussing the premium version in this particular episode, the 2006 shape machine, and although, as you'd expect, the two cars are similar in some ways, they're not the same. Most definitely not. Now, as far as price, they are the same. They both cost 200 grand, which as far as tuner cars go isn't too bad, especially given that the Evo was already 150 grand and this is a considerably quicker vehicle. As far as engine, you're looking at a 2.6 litre turbo on both models, and the power on this model is higher, 847 horsepower to the non-premium's 842. This car also puts out fractionally more torque at 595 foot-pounds to the non-premium's 592. So the power and torque are both superior on the premium, which is nice to know because you can never tell on Gran Turismo which way it's going to go. And as far as weight, unfortunately, it actually tips the other way. They are different, but the non-premium is slightly lighter, 5 kilos lighter at 1204 compared to this car at 1209 kilos. That being said, even though it is the heavier of the two, the horsepower per tonne still most definitely does not suffer. It's 701 horsepower per tonne, which means that although the horsepower isn't as impressive as the premium R34 from the Nissan dealership, it's actually over 100 horsepower less in fact, the weight is a bit lower, around 50 kilos or so lower than the premium normal Skyline. So there's give and take. It is better in some ways, not so good in others. Now, the main thing of course is the fact that this is a 200 grand car compared to, let's just say, no way near that, actually just over 60 grand for the premium Nissan version, the stock vehicle. So for over 3 times the price, what do you get? Because you need to know if it's worth that. Well, as far as straight line performance, tuner cars on Gran Turismo, generally speaking, with very, very few exceptions, don't tend to be that good for top-end performance. They don't generally have very impressive top speeds, and there's a couple of reasons for that. For one thing, they generally have more downforce, and also, ironically, they tend to be less powerful, fully tuned. Now, both of those things are the case with this car. You're working with more aerodynamic disadvantages because it's designed to be in effect more of a track car than a top speed car, and it is also, as we already mentioned, running far, far less horsepower than the normal Skyline. So as far as straight line performance, this is understandably but also regrettably slower than the Nissan version, and the non-premium version is as well. As far as acceleration though, it is still an R34 Skyline with close to 850 horsepower, so yes, it's quick, most definitely so. In terms of acceleration, in fact, it's one of the quickest tuner cars in the game. As far as track potential, I would say that overall this car in particular, but also the non-premium model as well, do feel slightly more focused and more aggressive than the Nissan stock version of the R34. Even in tuned form, this car feels like more of a competition machine. Now, whether or not it's better than the Nissan version is another question entirely, because some people prefer different handling styles. Personally, I like the normal Skylines for that looseness that they have with their steering, especially in the case of the premium R33. If though you do prefer your cars to have less body roll, be more aggressive and sharper through corners, then you will probably like this version. Overall, I would suggest that this is a vehicle which you should view as a specialised car. Now, that sounds like an obvious thing to say, but many people, understandably so, would assume that this is probably just better than the normal Skyline because it's already tuned, and you'd be forgiven for assuming that. But the fact is, it's not a better car. In some ways it may be superior, such as handling and weight, but that doesn't make it a better machine all round. And the road version, or the normal version, more specifically from Nissan, is such a strong car that any disadvantage that this one shows is going to be significant. So having well over 100 horsepower less is to be noted. Now for 200 grand, it's not a bad car. If you're into tuner cars, aftermarket cars, then you will like this one. It's a good vehicle, it's competitive, it's fast, and it's a premium. But if you're just looking for the quickest possible Skyline, then you're better off going for the Nissan version. If though you've already got the Nissan version and you're looking to try something different, then this is a very good alternative. In fact, as far as aftermarket Skylines go, I would say that this is one of the best ones. And the fact that it's a premium really does help that. 200 grand is a lot, but it's not ridiculous. It's certainly not a stupid price for the car, it's understandable. So overall, it's, as I said, a little bit more niched than the Skyline usually would be, but if you're a fan of tuned ones, it's worth a look. But that's it overall for this particular pick. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.